Thinking about selling on Amazon? You're probably seeing those ads of some dude in a Lamborghini telling you it's passive income. Well, I hate to break it to you, but that guy's lying. Amazon is not passive income, and it is work. And if you don't know what you're doing, Amazon will take your money faster than a Vegas casino. So let's go over the biggest mistakes new Amazon sellers make, just so you don't have to learn the hard way. First mistake is thinking Amazon is passive income. Amazon is not a vending machine where you just collect money. If you treat it like it, you're gonna be in vending bankruptcy. Here's a reality check. Selling on Amazon means consistently optimizing, tracking inventory, managing pricing, purchasing, and dealing with customer service. The only passive thing about this is the passive-aggressive emails you get from Amazon when you mess up. People or companies offering to run your Amazon business by picking winning products are a scam. Straight up, you cannot rely on somebody building or running your Amazon store for you. Therefore, you can't think of this as an investment. It is not passive income. Amazon is not something where you just throw in a bunch of money and expect it to grow month over month. That will never happen. This is an active business where you have to take action constantly. Let's talk about the next biggest mistake, choosing the wrong product. So you found a product that you love and you're getting ready to sell it. Great, but did you check if anyone else actually wants to buy it? So here's some of the mistakes that people commonly make. Picking a product based on your personal preference and not market demand. Ignoring sales data, reviews, and seasonality. Jumping into an oversaturated category like supplements or tech gadgets where you'll be eaten alive by big brands with bigger budgets. If you're bringing these products in from China, it's very likely that the supplier that is selling to you will also sell them on Amazon when it's convenient for them. So be careful with that. So what's the solution? You got to learn proper data tools. Stay away from generic unbranded brands. Staying away from very low dollar items is also a good idea. They may not make you enough money to really absorb any changes in Amazon's fee architecture. So make sure you're selling stuff that is at least $30 and up. The next big mistake is underestimating startup costs. Some people think they can start an Amazon business with $500 and turn it into a six-figure business overnight. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. So if you don't have enough cash to reorder inventory when things start selling, you're also done. So budget accordingly. What's an appropriate budget for an Amazon business? Well, like any business, be prepared to purchase inventory. I recommend you have at least $2,000 for inventory, and that's gonna sell quick. So you better have another $5,000 or $10,000 available to you, whether it's through credit or friends or family or something, but otherwise your business is just gonna stop. So yes, you can reinvest all of it, but if you really wanna grow a business, you need to get more money. The next big mistake Amazon sellers make is ignoring Amazon's rules. Amazon's rules are like traffic laws. You might get away with running a red light once in a while, but eventually you get caught. And Amazon's traffic cops, they don't give warnings. They just shut down your store. These are some of the most common violations that people get their accounts restricted over. The first thing is listing restricted products without checking to see if Amazon allows them. Or making prohibited claims. Making claims like cures back pain or approved by FDA when it's really not. Those are the kind of things that get you into trouble. Another thing that will get you kicked out is buying fake reviews, because Amazon will find out and they don't play around and they're gonna get you. Sometimes people sell counterfeits, knowingly or unknowingly. They might buy from a supplier that sells them counterfeits, passing them off as goods. This is really common and people will get their accounts shut down permanently over it. Amazon expects you, the Amazon store owner, to do the due diligence to make sure that you're buying from the right place. Amazon may request a document review to make sure that your supply chain is in order. If you're selling items without proper supply chain, like for example, buying items from eBay, liquidation places, you're gonna get kicked off of Amazon if Amazon does a document review. Make sure that you're looking into suppliers by going on Google Maps, making sure they have an actual address and that they're not operating out of some small apartment. Make sure that you call the brands to make sure that they're actually selling to these guys, because you'd be surprised of the amount of stolen goods that are being sold on Amazon. And the brands always find out. They buy a few of the products to test to see which ones have been stolen. They find the lot codes associated to stolen goods. They report it to Amazon, and then Amazon suspends everybody on that listing. And guess what? You're gonna submit an invoice showing that you bought it from some wholesaler, and if that wholesaler is not approved by the brand, or they call the brand to find out if they sold the goods to that wholesaler and the brand says no, you're automatically suspended or you stay suspended. So make sure you read Amazon's policies carefully before you start selling, because ignorance won't save you. Another thing that really gets new Amazon sellers is just poor inventory management. You know, this is running out of stock, that's bad. Or it's overstocking, it's also bad. And Amazon storage fees, they're like a hotel's minibar prices. They're ridiculously expensive if you go over a certain amount of time with stuff at their warehouse. So you have to make sure that you're buying the right items and in the right quantities. I spoke to a guy once that bought 1,000 hula hoops for $8,000. $10. He thought it was a great deal, but the problem was that that type of hula hoop in that particular color only sold 8 times a month. So he had like 10 years worth of inventory, and that's not going to help you. What are you going to do with it? Either Amazon stores it or you store it at a storage place, and it's still going to cost you. So you got to use software tools to avoid these headaches and make sure you're buying things in the right quantities. Another mistake that Amazon sellers make is getting into a pricing war without a strategy. New sellers panic and they think that the only way to win on Amazon is by lowering their price until they're basically paying customers to take away their products. These are some common pricing mistakes. Competing solely on price is not the way to go. Amazon rotates sales even when the price is stable. They share the buy box, ignoring profit margins and ROI. Many lose track of what's actually costing them to sell on Amazon, and they end up selling at a loss. And when you're selling thousands of items per month, let's do the math. Smart sellers focus on scarcity. A wider selection of longer tail items that sell a few times a month without too much competition is a great way to start. Build up your bag of cash by having a wider inventory and a higher inventory valuation over time. A large catalog that sells predictably and for good profit is much better than having a few amazing listings that end up saturated with every other seller wanting to sell them. Another mistake Amazon sellers make is buying products that are good but have a bad listing. So listings with bad product photos or weak descriptions, generic listings. You'll want to do a little bit of research if you see an item being listed as generic, because sometimes people use the generic item listing in order to get around Amazon's restrictions. You don't want to do this because, again, Amazon will come down on you. They don't care that you didn't set that up in the catalog, but you're on it, therefore you're responsible. Eventually, Amazon will nuke the listing and blame you for it, leaving you with stranded inventory, which means you have to recall it at your cost. If the brand says that you're misrepresenting their brand or you're using their brand without permission, it's because you're not putting up the right photos or you're not describing the product as it's supposed to be described according to the brand. So you're better off not going on listings that look absolutely improvised and homemade. If you're selling a bottle of shampoo and it says 16 ounces, make sure that listing says 16 ounces. Sometimes they say 18 ounces. Sometimes they say 14 ounces. Either way, Amazon will not be happy if the UPC code on your item does not match the item catalog. Another common mistake, and this one's deadly, is spending too much money on pay-per-click advertising. If you got conned into launching a new product or brand as a complete beginner, the people that sold you the program about private labeling and launching products probably didn't mention that ads were super expensive. Over the last few years, pay-per-click pricing has increased dramatically faster than the rate of inflation because there are a lot of new Amazon sellers trying to launch products and everybody is in a bidding war for ads. This is why we prefer to sell branded items, because these products are already ranked organically on the Amazon platform and I don't have to spend any money on ads. Some of the common mistakes start with running ads with no clear strategy and just burning money on generic words, or hiring an agency and paying them monthly while all they do is set up an automatic campaign, which you can do in about 2 minutes. Using broad keywords that don't convert, not tracking performance and adjusting your bids, those are common mistakes. Now, the solution, if you have a generic product, is just to get out of it and get into the branding game, because when you resell existing brands, you understand product rank, you understand how quickly something sells, you understand that customers are already looking for it. But if you're starting from nothing without any experience, it's incredibly difficult and very costly through ads. Another common mistake, again, this applies more to the private label people that are trying to launch a brand, but is a failure to differentiate your product. If your product is the same as everybody else's, why would anybody buy it from you? Yes, you will own the buy box if it's your own brand, but ask yourself, does this matter if the item is never looked at by customers because they can't find it on the catalog and you can't afford the pay-per-click advertising anymore? That's why you need to stick to selling branded items that people are actually looking for. Sharing sales with 10 other sellers on a branded item is better than not getting any sales on a crummy product that has zero appeal to Amazon customers. So remember that. Another common mistake is getting emotional instead of analytical. Holding on to a bad product just because you believe in it is like staying in a bad relationship because you see the potential in it. Another big problem for Amazon sellers is not understanding Amazon fees. Look, you thought you were making $20 profit per unit? Well, Amazon thought otherwise. Some fees include the following, and you may or may not know it, so I'm going to clearly state them out for you. FBA fees. This is the referral fee. It's typically 15% of the total value of the sale. Sometimes it's 8% depending on the category, but keep that that in mind, 15%. Then you've got storage fees. You should use Amazon's FBA calculator prior to sending anything in so you know exactly how much money you're gonna make on it. I recommend RevSeller. I'm gonna put a link on the description below. Now, this is probably the biggest killer of Amazon newbies right here. Thinking that success is overnight. Selling on Amazon is not a get rich quick scheme. It's a business, and like a real business, it takes time. The biggest mistake that new Amazon sellers make is really giving up too soon. This business takes 6 to 12 months to get going to a level where you're making solid money. But if you quit before you get there, you never really gave it a chance. Success comes from patience, testing, and learning from your mistakes. In our program, the Reseller Engine, students typically see success between 6 and 8 months into their selling journey. Typically, our students achieve $10,000 to $15,000 per month in net profit at this level. But again, they started on the right foot with the right amount of inventory and buying products that they felt 100% sure would sell. And that's because we give you the data training to help you become an Amazon expert. All right, now that you know what not to do, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. What's the biggest mistake you've seen or made on Amazon yourself? And if you found this helpful, hit that like button, subscribe for more Amazon tips, and we'll see you in the next video.